little bit of a recap. So you were, so we did the immersion like it was about a year ago.
Pretty much a year ago, maybe 13 months.
13 months ago. Okay. So this is a little bit of a recap, and I think there's been some good progress. There's been some very good progress. So I remember when you first reached out, I was like, broke up with the girlfriend. It was like, game wasn't working. There was lots of rejection. Upset with the results and stuff like that. And now it's I got him to count how many approaches he makes now, 13 months later, to how many lays he would get, and I was trying to gauge how many approaches you would need to do to get laid. And so it was like, how many approaches? 30 something?
It would be normally about 35 to 40.
Yeah.
35 to 40 approaches.
So this last 32 approaches, just since I got you to count it. Yeah, so 30, 40, say 40, just round 40. It up. We'll say 40, we'll make it even.
Yeah, because I do find in warmer climates, you may get a number from every second girl, and it's normally 20 numbers that converts into one lay, is what I've found.
So it's like kind of, so how many lays for say 30, 40 approaches?
One. And the second one was a pull. Yes.
Yeah. So that's pretty high. That's pretty high.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
From like 13 months ago.
Yeah.
What was it 13 months ago? How many approaches before a lay? 1 million.
I'm not even sure. I mean, I was even fumbling the dates a lot. The date structure that you gave me, was a lot more to the point. Every interaction should be bouncing closer and closer to your bedroom, not leading away from your bedroom.
Yeah. So on average, I would say, if you're approaching girls are on your mate value or generally a little bit above, and you have game, like you're actually using the right strategies, on average, I think it should be about 4%. So 1 every 25 on average. So 1 every 20 is like ridiculously high. Like that's actually a good rate. There's guys that say that they will get higher rates. I don't believe it. Not in this is in Australia too, by the way. So this is the first world
country.
This isn't like Bangkok, where it's like 99% approaches to lays.
Bear in mind, I mean, those statistics are in that warmer climate, in that like.
But this is winter.
I mean, yeah, but since I came here,
it was raining yesterday
in Sydney. In the CBD, there's so much more volume. You can do probably 3 times.
But the volume doesn't matter if you're doing 30 approaches.
I don't know.
That 30 approaches isn't 300. It's 30. So it's 30 approaches here, 30 approaches no matter where you are in the world. And it's winter. So it's not exactly... The volume is irrelevant. And it's not warm. It's winter. So so you're trying to tell me in summer you'll get like a higher rate, you think?
People are friendlier in Queensland than in Sydney or Melbourne.
Yeah, Sydney.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so you're going to get better results.
Better hook rate.
Surfers is so much better than Sydney, and Brisbane is 10 times better than Sydney.
Yeah.
I got to leave Sydney.
Whereas the volume here is so intense that I can still get in the number of approaches. You can get in maybe 3 times as many approaches here because the volume is so high.
Yeah.
Whereas on the Gold Coast or Brisbane, you would struggle to get that. You would get a third of the approaches.
And because there's so much volume, you have time to make sure that you're covert too. You don't have to panic. It's not like there's one I want to speak to, and it's the only one I've seen in the last 5 minutes. So I got to run in there and do this be a little bit more abrasive. But here you've got a lot more time, I guess, because there's more volume.
Yeah.
And if there's a lot more volume, you can be a little bit more smoother, and you're inside the crowd, so it doesn't stand out as much too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you been thinking that I've been going too indirect with my positioning?
Yes, since you've been back here. So he came here just so we can do some DG and hang out and stuff. But yeah, so what would usually happen is a lot of guys, they confuse indirect, direct, the verbals and showing a lot of intent with positioning. And so he's now got to the point where he's being so covert and being so careful with getting into the approaches and trying to smooth it out so much that he's doing less approaches and missing a lot of opportunities, which is very common. Like every 3 months, I would say 3 months or more, I have to do like a bit more of an abrasive spam sort of session, because I start going so indirect, very covert to the point where I'm just not doing enough approaches. I'll do like my maximum 3 a day or whatever, and it'll get to the point where I'm like, oh no, that's too abrasive, I'm gonna let that one go. And then it's like you need to snap out of that every now and then, and that's something people don't understand. You can't always be on your game every day that you wake up. It's like a sport, you're gonna have injuries. You're gonna, your body fat percentage, like with sports.
But we got to train every day.
Yeah, so it's training every day, but you still have the
even if it's the remedial training,
So like you are a little bit too covert, a little bit too careful. But I'd rather you be too careful than be too abrasive. And that's probably why the lay rate per approach is so high, because it's just getting smooth.
Yeah.
It's smoother and smoother and smoother, but you can get so smooth that you don't do anything. So when you get to that point, you're gonna have to snap out of it every now and then. Yeah, and that's where I think you're kind of getting to the point. But 20 approaches per lay or pull, because you can't count like a pull and a lay. It's like, it's not really your fault. You take a girl home, she's like not interested, it's not your fault. It's like, it's that time of the month, or I changed my mind. It's like, it's still, you've run game to the bedroom. The approach worked, got the the contact information, the date, the pull. What happens inside the bedroom or when you pull is a lot of the time it's out of your control. They can change their mind, and it's like, but you still ran game to there.
Yeah.
So, guys count the lays, but it's also like, when you start putting pressure on every pull, then you start getting a little bit, you're putting pressure on her when she gets here, and you don't want to be doing any of that either, It gives the wrong impression to guys, so it's probably better to just count the pulls. As long as she's aware of the point, and those girls were aware, 'cause she told me the stories, they were aware of why they were here. It wasn't like you were tricking them back. You're like, oh, come up and look at my puppy dog, and she gets up here and it's like, you wanna hook up? And she's like, it's like she knew the purpose of getting pulled back to your place. It wasn't like you were tricking them. So
they are very much aware. You are picking them up, even when you're asking them what the weather's like.
And that's what guys out there, they're like, I want to count the lays, not the pulls, because guys will try and manipulate their stats that way, but that's not what's happening here. Anything else you want to add to it? You got 30 seconds.
Oh, you got to give me a lot. You got to give me a lot more than that. Far out. Well,
I guess I could.
Yeah. Well, I'm finding that the indirect is so beautiful. Like just very much just covertly getting into conversations with your positioning, making it natural, making it magic. Girls just want it to be, it just happened. It was magic.
Spontaneous, yeah.
It was spontaneous. It's like, I found the man of my dreams when I wasn't looking. And when you cross the street and you like run over to a girl, do a front stop and say, hey, I just crossed the street to come and meet you. It's not. It's methodical. It's not magical. It's too methodical for them. It may work sometimes.
And that's when you get do you do this all the time? You know, that's when you know you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, are you approaching girls all the time? That's when you know you've done something wrong. It's not that Hollywood movie story line, you know?
Yeah, you really... There is no 5-second rule so long as she hasn't really seen you checking her out or whatever.
Yeah.
You can take your time and find the best moment to approach. And in doing this now, I actually find doing the approaches, it's less energy, it's less taxing on your mind. Often I'll go out and I'll do a set of approaches on a weekend. If I decide I don't want to do kite surfing or running or any other sports that I want to do, if I want to go out and socialize, I'll go and do a heap of approaches. I'll lose count of the number of approaches that I do because it's just so seamless. It's just so natural that it's almost like I'm just going around talking to people. And when you do that, it just becomes a lot easier, a lot more part of your life. And you get a lot more fluid in your charisma as well. You do it for 2 days straight, and on the third day, boom, you can talk smoothly to anyone, and you notice social things that happen that are just magical. It's like looking through the Matrix.
Yeah, it's because you're not using canned lines too. You're not in that framework that you can't. You're stuck in a box, which is a framework of canned lines and canned structures and canned ways. So it's like fluid, like when a puppy dog, two girls walked by and they had a puppy dog, and the puppy dog came over and we pat the puppy dog, and he just said, "Does the puppy have a daddy?" You know, it's just like it's like a smooth little, you know, she knows what that's about. You know, you don't need to really. It's not a sledgehammer. It's like a sneaky little thing, and she's like, "Yeah, we've got a daddy at home, and I wouldn't be able to take care of the puppy without him." But she, it wasn't like an abrasive. It wasn't. It didn't make you look bad. It was very smooth. It was like you're hitting on her, but it was very socially aware. You know?
She can think I was hitting on her, but I did want to take the dog home. Dog was nice.
I think she knew though, because
she did.
That's the point of you saying, like, is there a daddy? Is there a man? It's like a very smooth way of saying, is she single? And that's what this is about, being able to do that every day without blowing out an area. If she sees you again, she's not going to be insulted. It was smooth, you know.
Yes.
That's what most of the content out there doesn't cover. Because when these guys are approaching and they're very abrasive and very direct in how they approach things, the girl remembers them and tries to avoid them next time.
Yeah. I think sometimes just guys don't want to be creepy in their approaches. They really want to just put it out there and state why they're there and just be direct off the get-go and just say what's going on.
And they're worried because they don't have the skill set to actually do it in a smooth way.
They don't understand the skill set, how to do it in an indirect, smooth way. Initially, when you were teaching me this skill set, I thought it was a bit creepy. I thought waiting around was...
the right moment to approach.
Yeah, I thought that was stalking out.
Stalking, yeah.
Following.
It took 4 days. We did almost 24 hours.
I really thought that was creepy. But when you showed me how to do it your way, that skill set, it's not creepy, it's natural. You just create it naturally. And
because when it's hard, there's the girl, and it's like spot the girl, and then we're going to, that's why the 3 second rule is they're worried that it comes across as stalking.
Yeah, that's it.
But and that's kind of the misconception of the whole thing. It's like, 3 second rule, there's a girl, go straight in. I don't want to be stalking the girl, I don't want to be creepy, and I just want to go straight in. And then it's like you just make a big scene because they want to avoid being like this lion that's like, hunting prey, when in fact it's like, girls over there, I can't approach now because she's talking to that person, she's on the phone, she's surrounded by all these people. Let me just wait until she walks over there and make a smoother approach and get in there in a nice, smooth, easy, covert way. And people don't fully understand that because it seems like it is, but it's not really. It's just waiting 30 seconds longer, a minute longer, looking for an opportunity, walking around the store until you notice that she's free to talk, and then you got something, talk about something in the environment, and then you get in there in a smooth way with onlookers around. And people think that waiting a little bit longer is creepy, but until they actually do it, then they understand that in fact 3-second rule running in like a lunatic is the creepiest shit you can do. Blow out the environment.
I had a buddy of mine that I was trying to teach this to, and he had a lot of trouble understanding how to transition from talking about the tomatoes in Coles or whatever the indirect kind of thing was, to let's go on a date. And it really is as simple as talking about the situation and then just asking, what do you do with yourself? What do you get up to? You know, and then saying, you seem cool, let's get a coffee sometime, let's get a juice sometime.
Yeah, well, there's levels to it. So it's like, I was doing it for many years before I decided to start coaching it, and then coaching it's a total different skill set altogether. Which
it is, and I'm not good at that.
So, the transitioning part is what people get stuck on, but then you have to go back to the beginning. Where's the opening? What's what's their plan on what they're gonna do? You know. And they get stuck on the transitioning because they think that they need to show intent, because they think that the girl is not socially aware enough to understand what is happening. Most girls, if you're talking about tomatoes and you're talking about it, she eventually figures out that you're not really that interested in the tomatoes. And then she looks at you and you're like, yeah, are you cooking tomatoes for dinner tonight? And she clicks. Right? People around her might not necessarily know. The onlookers might think you actually know each other. That's what makes the covert way getting in there. Then the indirect is you actually having the verbals. And you're not actually telling her you're interested in her, but she clicks. Eventually she just clicks. You don't need to just tell her she's hot. You can literally just have that conversation about tomatoes, and she clicks during the conversation, and that comes with practice. You know, you can spot it in her eyes. She eventually realize.
I've seen it. Yeah.
She's like, hang on, this guy's not interested in tomatoes. I think he's hitting on me. And then she looks at you and you're like, and then people think that you know her when you don't know her. It's a cold approach, very covert, and there's onlookers around. They think you know her.
You're not
she figures it out. She actually gives you the benefit of being cool enough and smooth enough to actually do that.
Yeah.
Which most guys can't do.
And then there's no articles that go up online about Daygamers running around in Melbourne burning it down, which is good for men everywhere.
Was there some articles?
I think there's one article on Melbourne.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. But
I'm surprised there aren't any in Brisbane with those guys up there.
Yeah. That was some James Bond shit going on when we were in that street. You're like, look at these. That was spooks, man. That was fun. It was fun.
Yeah, like CIA type stuff.
Yeah.
It's like they're right next to you, and you're trying to pick up girls right in front of guys that are supposed to know what pickup is, and they have no idea it's happening right next to them.
Yeah.
That shows the incompetence. And it's kind of fun.
It's like we're 00 agents, picking out the single O agents in the street.
It's like, what is it?
We know what these guys are doing. We can see it.
Oh, well, you got 30 seconds, because I got 20 minutes per...
Yeah.
I think
that's it.
That's it, cool.
Yeah.
Cool, that'll do.
Get out there, charge it.
I'll do.